I am 86 years old, and for most of my life, I believed I had a marriage people only dream about. For 36 years, I woke up beside the same man, shared meals with him, celebrated holidays, and trusted him with every quiet corner of my heart. Everyone said we were lucky. Even I believed it. But here is the truth I discovered far too late. My husband did not only come home to me. For 26 years, he was living another life, another home, another family. And the most frightening part is not just the betrayal. It is how perfectly it was hidden. How easy it was for me to believe everything was normal. You might think I found out through a dramatic confession, or maybe someone finally exposed him. That is what I used to think these stories looked like. But the truth came to me in a way I never expected, from something small, quiet, almost invisible, a moment that most people would have ignored. That single moment unraveled an entire lifetime. Today, I am not telling you this story only to speak about betrayal. I am telling it because surviving a truth like this changes you. It teaches you things no one ever warns you about love, trust, and the secrets people carry right in front of us. What I learned at 86 years old may change the way you see your own life. So listen carefully, because the part that shocked me the most hasn't even begun yet. When I look back now, people often ask me the same question: how did you not know? And I understand why they ask. From the outside, our life looked like something out of a picture frame. My husband was a respected man in our community. He worked hard, spoke kindly in public, and always knew how to present himself as a devoted family man. We had a home that felt stable, quiet, and predictable. For many years, people would look at us and say, "You two are the perfect couple." And for a long time, I believed that too. Our life followed routines that felt safe. Every morning we drank tea together before he left the house. Every evening he returned at almost the same time. We celebrated anniversaries, visited relatives, and attended family gatherings where people admired how long we had stayed together. Those routines became my proof that everything was fine. When something feels consistent for years, you stop questioning it. Of course, there were small moments I didn't fully understand back then. Days when he seemed distant, or times when he had reasons to be away longer than usual. But life has a way of explaining things for you when you want to believe in someone. I told myself he was busy. I told myself every marriage has quiet seasons. I remember one afternoon very clearly. A neighbor came to visit us and smiled warmly as she looked at both of us sitting together on the porch. She said, "I hope my marriage lasts as long and looks as peaceful as yours." I smiled proudly that day. I truly thought we were an example for others. But now, at 86 years old, I understand something important. Appearances can become a comfortable illusion. Society often praises couples who look happy, who stay together for decades, who never show cracks in public. Yet the truth is this: looking happy and being honest are not always the same thing. And sometimes, the life everyone envies is the one hiding the deepest secrets. When a secret lasts for many years, it rarely begins with something obvious. It starts with small cracks, quiet moments that don't seem important at the time. That is how it was in my marriage. After many years together, I began to notice little changes in my husband. Nothing dramatic, just things that felt slightly different. Sometimes he would leave earlier than usual without much explanation. Other times he returned home later than expected, saying work had kept him busy. His voice remained calm, his stories believable, and I wanted to trust them. And so I did. There were also moments when people around me asked questions. A relative once mentioned that my husband seemed to travel more than most men his age. Another time, a friend casually asked why he was often unavailable on certain weekends. But every time someone hinted at something unusual, I defended him immediately. I told them, "He works hard for this family." I told them, "Not everyone understands responsibility the way he does." Looking back, I realized I was protecting not just him, but the life I believed in. Inside me, there was a quiet confusion I could never fully explain. My trust in him was strong, but there were moments when doubt tried to enter my thoughts. And every time it did, I pushed it away. After all, we had spent so many years together. How could something be wrong after so much time? One memory still stays with me. One evening, he received a phone call and stepped outside to speak in a low voice. When he came back inside, he seemed slightly nervous, something I had rarely seen in him. For a brief moment, I felt a strange feeling in my chest, a question forming in my mind, but I ignored it. Now, at 86 years old, I understand a lesson many people learn too late. Our intuition often whispers the truth long before our minds are ready to accept it. But when love, habit, and trust are strong, those whispers become very easy to silence. The truth did not arrive with a loud argument or a dramatic confession. After all those years, it came quietly, almost gently, like a door opening that I didn't even know existed. It happened on an ordinary day, the kind of day that begins like any other. At that point in my life, I was already in my 80s. My husband had been acting more distant, but I thought it was simply age, fatigue, or the passing of time. I never imagined that after so many decades, there was still something left for me to discover. The moment came when someone knocked on my door. At first, I thought it was a mistake. A woman stood there, nervous, unsure of how to begin speaking. And then she said words that changed everything I believed about my life. She mentioned my husband's name and spoke about another household, another family that had existed for many years. For a moment, I truly believed I had misunderstood her. But then details began to surface. Names, places, years. And suddenly, pieces of my past started rearranging themselves in my mind. All those late evenings, unexplained absences, and quiet phone calls now carried a meaning I had never allowed myself to see. I felt something I cannot fully describe. It wasn't just shock. It was like the ground beneath my memories had shifted. 36 years of marriage suddenly looked different. After she left, the house became incredibly quiet. I sat there for a long time, not crying, not speaking, just trying to understand how a life I lived every day could hold a truth I never saw. Disbelief has a strange silence to it. But with time, I realized something important. The truth, even when it hurts deeply, does not destroy us the way lies do. Lies keep us trapped in a story that isn't real. Truth, painful as it may be, opens the door to clarity. And sometimes clarity, no matter how late it comes, is the beginning of freedom. Learning the truth about my husband after all those years was like waking up in a world I didn't recognize. Every memory I had built, every story I had believed about our life together, suddenly carried a shadow I could no longer ignore. The weight of it pressed on me, heavy and relentless, as if decades of trust and love had been quietly rewritten behind my back. I began to replay moments from the past, searching for signs I had missed. A smile that seemed too forced, a hurried goodbye at the door, the way he sometimes hummed softly on the phone in another room. Each memory now looked different, tinged with doubt and sorrow. I realized how easily life's ordinary moments can hide extraordinary secrets. Anger was the first emotion that came. Anger at him, at the years that were stolen, at the lies that had gone unnoticed. But anger is exhausting, especially at my age. It didn't bring clarity. It only kept me trapped in a storm of bitterness. Slowly, I began to understand that acceptance didn't mean I excused what had happened. Acceptance meant I could carry this truth without letting it destroy the rest of my life. I remember one quiet evening, sitting alone in the garden, I thought about a memory from many years ago. My husband had returned late from a business trip, and I had smiled, reassured myself that it was nothing unusual. Now I realized the trip had not been for work. It had been for the other life he led. That moment of recognition stung sharply, but it also taught me something. Even the past, no matter how painful, can become a teacher. The lesson I carried from that day forward is one I want everyone to hear. We cannot change the past. We cannot undo the choices others make, nor can we erase what was hidden from us, but we can choose how we carry it. We can decide whether it will crush us or whether it will teach us strength, clarity, and resilience. At 86, I have chosen to carry it with wisdom, not bitterness. And that choice has given me a freedom I never thought possible after such a betrayal. Betrayal changes a person in ways that are quiet, subtle, and lasting. It reshapes the way you see relationships, the way you weigh trust, and the way you navigate the world. After discovering that my husband had another family for 26 years, I realized that nothing would ever feel the same again. People around me couldn't always understand the depth of the pain, because betrayal isn't just about heartbreak. It's about the fracture of certainty in your life. Before that day, I had trusted completely. I believed in his words, his routines, the life we had built together. But betrayal teaches you that trust is not a guarantee, and that even the closest relationships can hide truths you never imagined. Yet within that pain, something remarkable happens. You develop a strength that cannot be seen, a quiet resilience that carries you through the storm. It is not flashy or loud, but it is powerful. You learn to stand on your own, to hold your own heart without relying solely on someone else's loyalty. When I shared my story with a younger friend, I remember the look on her face, a mixture of disbelief and sorrow. She asked, "How did you survive something like that?" I told her that survival wasn't just about enduring the shock. It was about learning the lessons it left behind. I warned her to notice the small signs, the little inconsistencies, the quiet moments that feel off. Betrayal rarely arrives without hints. It creeps in slowly, and those who ignore the whispers often pay a heavier price later. The most important lesson I have learned is this: self-respect must never be entirely dependent on another person. Loyalty, love, and trust are gifts, not guarantees. We cannot control others, but we can control how we honor ourselves. Betrayal may break illusions, but it cannot break the core of who you are unless you allow it to. By the time I reached my 80s, I understood that betrayal, as devastating as it is, also offers clarity. It forces you to see people and yourself more clearly. And in that clarity, you find a strength and wisdom that lasts a lifetime. After decades of betrayal, pain, and shattered trust, I reached a point where I had to ask myself a question I never thought I would face. Do I need to forgive him? At 86 years old, the answer was not simple. Forgiveness, I realized, is not a magic wand that erases the past. It does not undo years of deception or make the heartbreak disappear. But it can offer something even more valuable: peace. For a long time, I carried anger. It was like a heavy coat I could not take off, dragging me down with every step. Every memory of his double life replayed in my mind, and I felt myself trapped in it. But I slowly began to understand that holding on to that anger was giving him continued power over my life. I was letting his choices define my days, even when he no longer lived with me. One day, sitting quietly in my favorite chair, I began a simple practice that changed everything. I focused on small moments that gave me calm: the sunlight on the garden, the sound of birds, the laughter of my grandchildren. I reminded myself that my peace could not come from him. It had to come from me. I let go of the anger, not because I excused his actions, but because I chose freedom over resentment. Life, even after devastating truths, continues. The days are still long, and the years are precious. I learned that it is possible to live fully, even with the knowledge of betrayal. Forgiveness, in the way I have come to understand it, is not about excusing someone's lies or deceit. It is about refusing to let them steal your present or your future. The lesson I carry now is clear. Peace is a choice. It is the most powerful gift you can give yourself. It does not erase the pain, but it frees your heart from the weight of it. At 86, I have chosen to live in that freedom. And in doing so, I have discovered a strength I never knew I had. A strength born not from anger, but from letting go and reclaiming my life. After 86 years of living, loving, and learning, I have come to understand one undeniable truth. Life is too short to live in illusions. My story, being married to a man who had another family for 26 years, taught me lessons that no book, no advice, and no warning could fully prepare me for. I learned that trust is precious, but it must be accompanied by awareness. Love is powerful, but it must never cost your self-respect. And honesty, above all, is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. I want you to understand that appearances can be deceiving. Just because a life looks perfect from the outside does not mean it is built on truth. That is why I urge you to pay attention to the whispers of your intuition, to honor the quiet signs, and to never let anyone's loyalty be the measure of your own worth. At the heart of it all, I have realized that life is about how we choose to carry the truths we uncover. Pain, betrayal, and loss do not define us. How we respond to them does. Choosing peace over anger, clarity over illusions, and self-respect over dependence has been my greatest act of courage. So, remember this. Guard your heart, stay aware, and never allow someone else's deceit to steal your joy. Life is fleeting, and your time is your own. Love deeply, trust wisely, and above all, respect yourself, because no one else can give you that gift.